Good news for Florida State out of the transfer portal as they grab an offensive skill position player, and not one that's a young player. This is a veteran coming into Florida State to play right here, right now. It's Gavin Sawchuk, running back out of Oklahoma, who entered the transfer portal in the last week. Joining me to speak on that is lead portal analyst, lead recruiting analyst for Warchant.com. He's Michael Langston. Make sure to hit the thumbs up underneath this video as everybody files in for this news. Michael, Florida State, to at least my surprise, they felt like they needed to grab another running back in addition to freshmen like Usman Kromah coming in and helping Florida State. 5 other veterans on the roster. They still felt like they could get better at the position, and they decided to say, come on down to Tallahassee to Gavin Sawchuk. He says yes to Florida State. What happened with this transfer portal recruitment?
Yeah, I've kind of talked about this. I've listed some running backs that they're going after. Obviously, Gavin was the most recent. So I just think they want another, really like a guy with a lot of experience in there, like Gavin. You have Roydell, but outside of that, I don't think you have a lot of experience as far as that position. And so I think they want another experienced guy in the room. Obviously, that could lead to somebody, one of these young guys leaving, but I think they really feel like it was a necessity because, as we know, Roydell got banged up last year. So you want to have a guy that, in case something happens to Roydell, you'll be able to lean on another experienced guy. This is a guy that I know Coach Yak, David Johnson's, I know has been working feverishly on since he entered the portal. It's a name I've heard a lot consistently pop up on my radar, and one that I think the staff as a whole probably feels really good about, that this guy can do a lot of different things, whether it's between the hashes or as a receiver.
Right, exactly. And this is somebody who a couple of years ago rushed for over 700 yards. So you're talking about a lot of pure production that's coming into Florida State. Had a bit of an injury history over the last 12,
Right.
18 months. But again, at 5'11", 205 pounds, Florida State fans got to see him up close and personal in the bowl a couple of years ago. Impressive performance for Oklahoma that particular day. This is somewhere, Michael, between an insurance policy and a starter for Florida State. That sounds like what they're trying to thread the needle for here.
Yeah, and I think it tells you also they're very serious about running the ball, that they're very serious about that's going to be one of the major parts of this offense, that they want to run the ball heavily. And I think they're putting a lot of emphasis on Gavin, obviously Roydell, and then, Usman coming in. So I think certainly, I know Gus doesn't usually use more than 2, but I think this year you might see a little bit of a switch where it tends to lean towards 3. But I think certainly that's what brought my attention more than anything, Tom, was that, okay, this solidifies like you're going to run the ball, and they run the ball a lot.
No, that's Gus was not mincing words in his introductory press conference. He said it all the while that they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball first, and they're going to take shots downfield. So to that end, I know we're going to talk about another commitment in a moment, but Florida State is not just hosting Gavin Sawchuk on campus today. They're also hosting a wide receiver from North Carolina by the name of Gavin Blackwell. They were in, Michael, on Tony Johnson from Cincinnati. They were one of the finalists. He decided to go play for the U down south of Miami. What is this recruitment about in terms of, do you think that Blackwell is somebody who Florida State would put in the rotation immediately? Because here's another player with an injury background, had 200 yards in his sophomore season. What's that recruitment been like, and do you think Florida State is really pressing to get that one done?
Well, they don't. Yeah, I think all 3, the guys that visited this weekend or this week are probably, I feel like, better than good chance of them ending up in the class. Gavin's really the main guy as far as visiting that's on campus. He has experience. Yes, he has injury history, but he has experience, and that's what they want in that position. Sure, you want production. That's kind of why they were going after the Tony Johnsons and these other guys. But they certainly need another one that has experience. The size and stuff can really fit into what they do. So I think if everything clicks well, I think all 3 of these guys that visit this weekend probably end up here.
So Florida State does receive a commitment from a safety on Friday morning. That's Jarvis Boatwright out of USC. Michael, I hope you kept your notes from the recruiting cycle with this young man.
Because, I did.
State he gets back to Tallahassee for this go around, and he said the timing wasn't right the previous year. The timing is right now. And for those of you wondering really quickly where Michael is, They're out of the stadium. He's in a car with our own Matt Lasser. They're recovering this stuff right now. There's Matt on the screen. Everybody hit the like button for the staff being out there in the middle of the action. But Jarvis Boatwright from USC, he's already a Clearwater kid, so he's coming back home to Florida. Michael, what was that recruitment like? And does Florida State really think he could contribute early, or do you think this is somebody that might be contributing to the roster a season or two down the line?
I think he'll have a role in this team. I just don't know how high a role it will be. I think the main thing is the long game of this one can be really good for you as his career goes on. And I think as a staff as a whole, the way I was told, it's like this is a guy that we know really well. We love his talent, we love his film, and we love just kind of the things he'll do in this defense. And his length is very impressive. Especially for a safety, and he's not afraid to stick his nose down there and make hits and be physical. So I think the development will be pretty much at his pace, but I think overall he's a guy that I think as a staff, once it didn't look like it was going to happen for Jacoby Thomas, I think then they kind of knew like, okay, we're going to really push hard here. But I think they're already probably going to take Jarvis regardless. I think they would have taken Jarvis and then probably another safety. So I don't think they're done at safety if they see another one that pops out to them.
That was going to be my follow-up. You know, the kids that are on campus this weekend, it almost feels like it feels like this is the close of a window, but it's not. Florida State could continue to host kids into the coming weeks and months if they wanted to, because the portal was only about getting your name into the system. So you already kind of answered it at safety. So I know the answer is when I ask, is Florida State done? You're going to say no, but do you think that there could be other positions that they still look at beyond safety?
Yeah, I mean, there's other spots. I think if there's another one receiver that pops up, they're certainly going to do it. Edge, they would certainly like to add there. To me, that's like the one most lingering one that they haven't. I think these other positions we've seen them add, but I think edge and receiver are kind of the two top for me, as far as needing now. And then I think there'll be some other positions, maybe defensive tackle and so on, that if something pops up, I think they'll do it. I think the visits will slow down a little bit because, like I said, a lot of these coaches want to be on the road. They want to deal with high school stuff. There's a lot going on. So, but I do think there'll be, probably be some visitors if one's just so good that, hey, we got to get that guy in here. I think they'll do that. But as of now, I think we have what we have as far as, guys that are on campus.
Last question for you is just give us the setting and the scene. It's graduation weekend. There's already construction on campus, so the parking spaces are fewer, and Florida State's trying to host a bunch of kids on a Friday with a baseball game at home against Clemson. How did you get a parking spot, and how crowded is it out there right now on campus?
Well, I didn't ask, and I don't really want to get into the parking around, Florida State, because that's another conversation, but just found a way to squeeze in there. Weather's nice, a little breezy, kind of hot, but overall, we're out here grinding, and it's been fun, and be better once we wrap things up. But overall, it's been pretty good.
Let's just say we boxed out the parking attendant today.
Okay, Florida State Parking Services, we're just doing our jobs. Remember that here on Warchant TV. And if Florida State Parking Services is watching us, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. Florida State lands another offensive impact player in running back Gavin Sawchuk, in addition to working at other positions. Michael, thanks for the time. Matt, be well in that passenger seat too, buddy.
I will.